Across the galaxy, a powerful alliance of alien empires ruled the stars for centuries. From the majestic Axur to the militaristic Kelvoth and the wise Neza, no one dared challenge their dominance. In this vast and complex universe, humanity was nothing more than a speck, a young species struggling to survive on a tiny blue planet, isolated and unimportant in the grand scheme of things. The alien empires had never paid much attention to humans. They saw them as primitive, weak, and disorganized. To the alien leaders, the human race seemed like a minor annoyance, a species that could barely manage to travel to other planets, let alone pose any real threat. Yet, unbeknownst to them, humanity was quietly on the rise. For decades, humans had been quietly studying the stars, pushing the boundaries of their technology. The space agencies of Earth, long out of the public eye, had been developing something incredible, a new kind of warship, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. But the aliens had no reason to believe that such a project would amount to anything of significance. They viewed humanity's efforts as futile, believing the human race would never be able to rival the power of the galactic empires. Then, everything changed. A mysterious signal began to spread through the galaxy. It was simple at first, just a series of coordinates transmitted from an unknown source. But soon, it became clear that the signal was a warning, a message from humanity, sent on the eve of the galaxy's most unexpected encounter. The alien leaders sat at their council table, surrounded by their generals and advisors. They listened carefully as the message from Earth was broadcasted across all frequencies. The voice that came through the static was calm, confident, almost haunting. "This is humanity," it said. "We are coming. You have one choice: surrender or face the consequences." The words sent a ripple of unease through the room. Some of the older generals laughed, dismissing the message as a foolish attempt to frighten them. After all, how could one small species, with little more than basic technology and primitive weapons, pose a threat to the great empires of the galaxy? The Neza leader, wise and calculating, smiled at the thought. "Let them come," he said. "We'll show them what happens when a species steps too far." But despite the bravado, there was something unsettling about the message. No one could quite shake the feeling that humanity wasn't just bluffing. A deep sense of unease began to settle in, especially when the human ship appeared on the radar. A massive, sleek vessel, far larger than anything the aliens had seen from Earth. It was an unknown force, one that didn't fit the image of the weak humans they had always thought they knew. For the first time, the galaxy's leaders began to question their assumptions. Could humanity actually be powerful enough to challenge them? Or was this just the beginning of something much bigger than any of them realized? The answer, they would soon find out, would change the galaxy forever. As the human message echoed through the galaxy, the alien empires couldn't ignore it any longer. The leaders of the Xayr, Kelvoth, and Neza gathered in their respective command centers, each feeling a growing unease. The once quiet humans had now made their presence known, and the peaceful rule of the galaxy seemed to be under threat. The Xayr leader, a towering alien with sharp features and glowing skin, paced back and forth in his chamber. His empire had long been the dominant force in the galaxy, and the thought of humanity challenging that power was almost laughable. But that message, "Ye Buddy are coming. You have one choice: surrender or face the consequences," lingered in his mind. Was it possible that humans had somehow built something capable of such confidence? "Let them come," the Xayr leader muttered. "We will crush them in an instant. No species has ever been able to stand against us." His words were met with nods from his advisors, who agreed that humanity's threats were nothing more than bluster. Yet, despite their confidence, they knew that it was better to be cautious. The galaxy had never seen anything like this before. Meanwhile, the Kelvoth warlord, known for his brutal tactics and sharp mind, was less sure. He had seen many empires rise and fall, and while he didn't fear the human race, he understood the value of preparation. "We cannot ignore them. If they are truly coming, we must be ready." A single ship can't pose a threat to the power of our fleets, but what if there is more to humanity's weaponry than we know? The Nisa leader, always calm and calculating, frowned. The human race may be weak compared to us, but their ingenuity is something we cannot overlook. It's possible that they've developed something we haven't anticipated. All across the galaxy, similar conversations were taking place. Some alien leaders brushed off the human threat, confident in their superiority. Others, like the Nisa, knew better than to underestimate a species that had survived so much. Humanity's ability to adapt and innovate was something even the most advanced aliens couldn't ignore. As the human battleship continued its slow journey through the galaxy, the tension among the alien empires grew. Military forces were mobilized, and fleets were put on high alert. Yet, none of them truly knew what to expect. The humans had not revealed the full extent of their power. They had only shown a glimpse, and it was enough to send shockwaves through the galaxy. The human ship, the Conqueror, continued its approach, passing through uncharted space with frightening ease. The alien empires watched closely, tracking every movement. The message from Earth had made it clear that humanity had no intention of asking for permission to enter the galactic fold. Instead, they were forcing their way in. The first signs of the human ship's power came when it encountered a small outpost on the fringes of the galaxy. The alien forces stationed there were caught off guard, unable to react fast enough. Within moments, the Conqueror disabled their defenses with a single strike. The ship didn't destroy the outpost. It simply neutralized it. The alien forces, left in stunned silence, realized they were helpless against the human ship's advanced technology. A ripple of fear spread across the galaxy as news of this incident traveled. Humanity was not bluffing. The alien leaders, who had once dismissed them, now knew that the humans had something terrifying on their side. Not just power, but the ability to outthink and outmaneuver even the strongest of alien forces. As the Conqueror moved closer to the heart of the galaxy, the question on every leader's mind was the same. What were humans really capable of? The galaxy was no longer certain. And for the first time, the alien empires feared what might be coming. The first time the human battleship, the Conqueror, entered a major galactic sector, it was like nothing anyone had ever witnessed before. The alien empires had prepared for war, expecting a fierce and bloody battle. But what they didn't expect was the calm confidence that radiated from the humans aboard the ship. Their intentions were clear, but it was the way they carried themselves that sent a wave of panic through the galaxy's leaders. On every planet, in every star system, the news spread quickly. Humanity was here, and they had brought with them a force that none of the alien races had seen before. The Conqueror moved effortlessly through the galaxy, bypassing the fleets and outposts that stood in its path. Wherever it went, it left nothing but silence and fear in its wake. And then, humanity made its next move. The human fleet sent a message across all frequencies, a broadcast that cut through the chaos of the galaxy like a knife. It wasn't a threat, nor was it a plea for peace. It was simply a statement. We are humanity. We have arrived. Your only choice is to surrender, or we will make you. The voice that spoke was clear and steady, with no hint of fear or hesitation. It wasn't an alien leader trying to maintain control. It was a human, speaking for a species that had been underestimated for centuries. The alien leaders were stunned. There was no question of negotiation, no offer of diplomacy. The humans weren't asking for anything. They were demanding submission. The calm authority in the voice sent chills through every leader who heard it. Some of them dismissed it as arrogance, a typical human overconfidence. Others, however, understood that this was no ordinary species. In the Nisa Council chamber, the wise old leader, who had lived through countless wars, stared at the screen in disbelief. "This is impossible," he muttered to himself. "How could they be so bold?" In that Exire war room, a young officer nervously looked at his superior. "Sir, do we engage?" The Exire leader paused for a long moment before answering. "No. We wait. We need to learn more about these humans before we make any move. And so, the galaxy watched in horror as the Conqueror continued its march forward. Every alien empire now understood that humanity was no longer a species to be ignored. They had arrived with a single ship, yet they were making the entire galaxy tremble in fear. What was the next move? No one knew. Meanwhile, the humans had already made their intentions clear. They had no interest in negotiations. They were not asking for permission to enter galactic affairs. They were taking their place among the stars, whether the rest of the galaxy liked it or not. For the first time in galactic history, an entire council of alien leaders found themselves unsure of how to respond. Was humanity truly this powerful? Was their strength real, or was it all just an illusion? As the Conqueror approached the heart of the galaxy, the question lingered. What would humanity do next? The galaxy's leaders had no answers, but they all knew one thing. The era of their dominance was over. A new force was rising, and it was human. The galaxy's leaders, once so confident in their unmatched power, now found themselves trapped in a strange, unsettling silence. The Conqueror, humanity's single battleship, had already crossed into the heart of the galaxy, cutting through every defense as if they were mere paper. No one had expected such strength from a species once considered insignificant. The human ship's progress was swift and deliberate. The alien forces, who had once controlled every sector of space, were now scrambling to respond. But no matter how many ships they sent to intercept the Conqueror, it continued to advance, undeterred and unscathed. One of the first major encounters happened in the Thylax system, a once peaceful region that had long been under the protection of the HFY Empire. The HFY's fleets, the most powerful in the galaxy, were sent to confront the human vessel. They arrived in a vast, intimidating force, with thousands of ships ready to engage. But as soon as they fired on the Conqueror, they realized something that would haunt them for the rest of the war. The human ship didn't fight the way they expected. The first blast from the HFY ships hit the Conqueror, but the human battleship did not explode, nor did it flinch. Instead, its shields absorbed the energy effortlessly, and in a flash, it retaliated with a force so powerful that it disabled half of the HFY fleet in one strike. The remaining HFY ships scattered in panic, realizing that they were not facing an equal force. They were facing something far more advanced, far more terrifying than anything they had imagined. As the news of the battle spread, the fear among the alien leaders grew. The Conqueror had not destroyed the HFY fleet. It had crippled them, leaving the enemy helpless and humiliated. This wasn't just a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's power, a message that echoed across the stars. The HFY leader, his hands shaking, convened an emergency council with his generals. "We underestimated them," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "Humanity is not what we thought. We must prepare for a war we never expected." The Kelvoth, known for their brutal nature and fierce military tactics, also sent their forces to confront the human battleship. But like the Sire, they found themselves outclassed at every turn. The Conqueror seemed to anticipate every move, outwitting the Kelvoth fleets with clever tactics and overwhelming firepower. No matter how many ships the Kelvoth sent, they were always one step behind. In the Nizza Council, the most cautious of all the alien empires, there was a sense of quiet panic. The Nizza leader, who had always prided himself on his ability to predict the future, was now unsure of what to do. "We cannot fight them as we fought before," he admitted. "They are not like us. Their technology, it's beyond anything we have." The galaxy, once united under the rule of these powerful empires, was now on the edge of chaos. The Conqueror had shown them all that humanity was not just a small, insignificant species. They were a force to be reckoned with, a new power rising in the stars. As the human ship continued its journey through the galaxy, it left a trail of defeated empires and broken fleets in its wake. No one could stop the Conqueror. The old order was crumbling, and the galaxy was witnessing the birth of something entirely new, a new era ruled by humanity. The question that hung in the air, however, was one that none of the galaxy's leaders could answer. How long could they survive under humanity's rule? As the Conqueror continued its path deeper into the galaxy, the atmosphere in every council room and war room across the stars grew tense. The once unshakable confidence of the alien empires was beginning to crumble. In private meetings, the leaders of the Xtyre, Kelvoth, and Nisa empires discussed their options, each one aware that they were facing a threat unlike anything they had encountered before. Humanity was no longer just a minor annoyance. They were an unstoppable force, and they had only just begun. In the Xtyre Command Center, the room was filled with hushed voices as the War Council met to discuss their next move. The Xtyre leader, normally a calm and calculating strategist, paced nervously. "We have underestimated them for too long," he admitted, his tone darker than usual. "Their technology is far beyond ours, and their tactics are unlike anything we've seen before." One of his generals spoke up, trying to remain optimistic. "We can still win this. If we join forces with the Kelvoth and Nisa, we may be able to stop them before they gain any more ground." But the Xtyre leader shook his head. "It's not enough. We need more than just numbers. We need something new, something that can match their technology." His voice trailed off as he glanced at the holographic displays, showing humanity's relentless advance. Far from retreating, the Conqueror was pushing forward at an even faster pace. Each time the human ship encountered resistance, it destroyed or neutralized the alien forces with cold, calculating precision. No fleet was ever able to put up a real fight. The human vessels seemed to predict every move and counterattack. The aliens were growing desperate, unable to cope with a species that fought with intelligence and innovation, rather than brute force. The Kelvoth, who had long prided themselves on their strength and aggression, were now questioning their tactics. They had sent wave after wave of ships to try and overwhelm the human battleship, only to be beaten back with each engagement. The Kelvoth warlord sat in his command chair, clenching his fists in frustration. "We must do something more," he growled. "We cannot allow these humans to take control of our galaxy. We will destroy them." But even as he spoke, a sense of doubt filled the room. The Kelvoth had lost several engagements, and each defeat made them feel smaller, weaker. They were no longer the galaxy's top warriors. Humanity had shattered that illusion. Meanwhile, the Nisa, the most calculating and diplomatic of the alien empires, had a different perspective. Their leader sat quietly in his chambers, staring at the star maps. "We can't fight them directly," he muttered to himself. "Their technology is too advanced, and their strategies are too unpredictable. But perhaps there is another way." His mind raced as he considered a new plan, one that didn't involve war, but rather a different kind of power play. It was the only option they had left. Across the galaxy, the message was clear. Humanity was not here to negotiate. They had come to dominate. The news of humanity's victory spread quickly among the inhabitants of the galaxy, and fear began to take root in every corner of the stars. No one felt safe. In every corner of the galaxy, the fear was palpable. The citizens of the once mighty alien empires, from the Xtyre to the Kelvoth, began to wonder, could their leaders stop humanity's rise, or had they made a fatal mistake in underestimating the humans all along? The galaxy was on edge, and every empire knew one thing for certain: nothing would ever be the same again. Humanity had arrived, and they weren't leaving without taking control. The tension in the galaxy had reached a boiling point. Every empire, from the most advanced to the most ancient, could feel the change in the air. Humanity, once considered weak and insignificant, was now the greatest threat to the galaxy's long-standing peace. The Conqueror, humanity's flagship, had made its intentions clear. It wasn't here to negotiate. It was here to take control. The galaxy's leaders could no longer ignore the reality. Humanity's power was real, and they had to respond. The first alliance to form was a desperate one. The Xtyre, Kelvoth, and Nisa empires, once sworn enemies, found themselves forced to put aside their differences. They knew that they could not face humanity separately. Together, they might have a chance to stop the human advance, but only if they acted quickly. The problem was, they were all deeply divided on how to handle the situation. In a secret meeting on the Exire homeworld, the alien leaders gathered. The Exire leader, normally cold and calculated, was unusually anxious. "We've been preparing for this moment for too long," he began. "Humanity is strong, but they cannot fight all of us. Together, we will overwhelm them. The galaxy is ours to protect." The Kelvoth warlord, known for his aggression, slammed his fist on the table. "We've tried overwhelming them before, and it didn't work. We need a new strategy. These humans are too unpredictable. We must strike them at their core, destroy the Conqueror before it reaches the heart of the galaxy." The Nisa leader, the calmest of the three, interjected. "If we go in blindly, we will lose again. The humans are not like us. We cannot predict their moves. We need to find out more about their technology, how they do it. If we understand it, we can defeat them." There was silence in the room. The Exire and Kelvoth leaders exchanged uneasy glances. The Nisa were known for their intelligence, and they realized that the Nisa leader had a point. If they continued charging at the human battleship with brute force, they would only end up humiliated once again. But how could they possibly learn anything about humanity's technology? The humans had shown no interest in sharing their secrets. Their actions were too fast, too precise. Meanwhile, the Conqueror continued its path, effortlessly crossing through systems, leaving nothing but fear and destruction in its wake. The aliens could see the human ship on their sensors, and yet they could not touch it. It moved like a shadow, always one step ahead, always a step too fast. Humanity was unpredictable, and that unpredictability was their greatest weapon. For the first time, the galaxy's leaders realized they weren't just facing an external threat. They were facing something far more dangerous: the human spirit. The human desire to survive, to adapt, to evolve, was what made them so dangerous. No matter how advanced the aliens were, no matter how many fleets they sent, the humans had a unique advantage. They could always think of something new, something the aliens never expected. As the empires continued their frantic discussions, the human battleship pressed forward. The decision was made. The only option now was to fight back, to unite their forces, and take down humanity before they could completely dominate. But the question remained: could they actually defeat the humans, or had they already lost? The galaxy was now more divided than ever, with every alien empire realizing that they could no longer live in the peace they had once known. Humanity was here to stay, and no one knew what the future held. The question on everyone's mind: could they survive the coming storm? The galaxy, once united under the dominance of the ancient alien empires, was now on the brink of chaos. After weeks of intense discussions, the alien alliances were finally ready. The Exire, Kelvoth, and Nisa had put aside their old grudges, all agreeing on one thing: the Conqueror must be stopped at any cost. The combined fleet of the three empires gathered in the vast expanse of space, ready for a battle that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The Conqueror, humanity's flagship, was positioned at the edge of the Exire-controlled sector, slowly advancing toward the heart of the galaxy. The alien forces, now prepared to face the human threat head-on, were determined to prevent humanity from spreading their power further. As the fleets lined up, the tension was unbearable. The alien commanders barked orders, their ships positioned in tight formations, ready to strike. In the distance, the Conqueror was a dark, looming silhouette against the stars, its presence powerful and unsettling. The human ship didn't move to engage immediately. Instead, it waited. It wasn't afraid. It was studying its enemies, calculating its next move. The first shot came from the Exire fleet, a bright, blazing beam of energy, aimed directly at the Conqueror. The shot hit, but instead of a massive explosion, the beam seemed to be absorbed by the ship's energy shields, creating a faint ripple. The aliens watched in shock as the human ship barely flinched. Humanity had once been seen as weak, but now they were showing their strength. Within seconds, the Conqueror retaliated. Without warning, it fired a single shot, a massive burst of energy that collided with the HFY flagship. The explosion was unlike anything the aliens had seen before. In an instant, the HFY flagship was reduced to debris, its remaining ships scattered in chaos. The attack was so precise, so deadly, that the HFY fleet could barely comprehend what had happened. One shot, and they were crippled. The Kelvoth, shocked by the ease with which the human ship had defeated the HFY, didn't hesitate. They launched their own assault, sending waves of their fiercest warships toward the Conqueror. The battle intensified, but once again, the human ship moved with frightening speed and accuracy. It dodged the incoming fire with ease, using its advanced technology to stay one step ahead. The Kelvoth fleet, known for its brutal and aggressive tactics, found themselves outmatched, unable to land a single effective hit. The Nisa, too, attempted to intervene, their ships moving with precision and discipline. But the Conqueror seemed to anticipate every move. No matter how many ships the alien forces threw at the human ship, it never lost its advantage. It was as if the Conqueror had already calculated every possible outcome before the battle even began. The alien commanders were stunned. This was no ordinary enemy. Humanity was not just strong. They were strategic geniuses, using every advantage at their disposal. With each passing minute, the alien fleets were pushed back, their once imposing power diminished by humanity's skill and determination. The battle raged on for hours, but it was clear the humans had won. The combined fleets of the HFY, Kelvoth, and Nisa were no match for the Conqueror. As the last alien ships retreated, nursing their wounds, the message was clear to the galaxy. Humanity was no longer the underdog. They were the dominant force. The aliens had tried to crush humanity's spirit, but instead they had only made it stronger. As the Conqueror sailed through the remains of the shattered alien fleet, humanity's future in the galaxy seemed brighter than ever. The galaxy would have to adjust, whether they wanted to or not. And for the first time, humanity stood at the center of it all, undefeated and unstoppable. The question now was not whether humanity would conquer the galaxy. It was what would happen next. Would the galaxy surrender, or would they continue to resist? One thing was certain. The Conqueror was just the beginning. The galaxy was in turmoil. Humanity's unexpected rise had shaken the foundations of the established alien empires. The Conqueror, humanity's formidable battleship, had already defeated combined fleets of the HFY, Kelvoth, and Nisa empires. The alien forces, once confident in their superiority, now faced the reality of a new and unpredictable adversary. In the aftermath of their defeat, the leaders of the alien empires convened in a rare and urgent summit. The HFY leader, his demeanor uncharacteristically somber, addressed the assembly. "We underestimated humanity," he began, his voice tinged with frustration. "Their tactics are unlike ours, and their technology surpasses our own. We cannot continue to fight them with the same strategies that have served us in the past." The Kelvoth warlord, known for his aggressive approach, nodded reluctantly. "Their unpredictability is their greatest strength. We must adapt if we are to stand any chance against them." The Nisa leader, ever the strategist, proposed a bold plan. "We need to understand their technology, learn from their unpredictability. Perhaps, if we cannot defeat them outright, we can find a way to coexist, or at least neutralize their advantage." The summit concluded with a unanimous decision to shift tactics. The alien empires would focus on intelligence gathering, seeking to understand the human approach to warfare and technology. Espionage units were dispatched, and diplomatic channels were reopened, albeit cautiously. Meanwhile, the Conqueror continued its journey, its mission clear: assert humanity's place in the galaxy. The crew, though battle-hardened, remained vigilant, aware that the tides of war could change with new information. Back on Earth, leaders addressed their people, emphasizing unity and resilience. The message was clear. Humanity had proven its strength, but the path forward required wisdom and diplomacy. The galaxy was vast, and while they had made their mark, the future was uncertain. As weeks turned into months, the galaxy held its breath. Would the alien empires find a way to counter humanity's advantage? Could diplomacy pave a new path, or was the galaxy destined for continued conflict? Only time would reveal the answers, but one thing was certain. Humanity had changed the course of galactic history. The galaxy's balance had shifted irreversibly. Humanity's emergence as a dominant force left the once mighty alien empire scrambling to adapt. But amid the chaos, a new unseen player began to influence events from the shadows. The Conclave of Shadows, a clandestine organization composed of various alien species, had long operated behind the scenes, manipulating galactic events to their advantage. They had watched humanity's rise with growing concern, realizing that their covert operations might be exposed. Determined to maintain their influence, the Conclave devised a plan to undermine humanity's efforts. Using their extensive network, the Conclave orchestrated a series of false flag operations, framing human factions for attacks they didn't commit. Their goal was to sow distrust among human colonies and between humans and their alien allies. They planted evidence, forged communications, and manipulated data to create the illusion of human aggression. Initially, their plans seemed successful. Human settlements began to report unprovoked alien attacks, and tensions escalated. Some human leaders called for retaliation, while others sought diplomatic solutions, unsure of whom to trust. The Conclave's manipulation threatened to plunge the galaxy back into conflict. However, the Conclave underestimated humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Human investigators, working alongside trustworthy alien allies, began to uncover inconsistencies in the evidence. They noticed patterns that didn't align with known alien tactics and technologies. Through careful analysis and collaboration, they traced the false attacks back to the Conclave's operatives. Exposing the Conclave's machinations was a turning point. The revelation united humans and their allies, strengthening their resolve against covert manipulation. The Conclave's influence waned as their agents were hunted down and their operations dismantled. This incident served as a stark reminder of the lengths to which some would go to maintain power and the importance of vigilance in preserving peace. In the aftermath, the galaxy took steps to increase transparency and cooperation. New interspecies councils were formed to oversee intelligence operations, ensuring that no single group could operate in the shadows unchecked. Humanity's ability to uncover the truth reinforced their role as a unifying force, committed to justice and collective security. The Conclave of Shadows, once a formidable hidden power, was reduced to a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in a galaxy filled with advanced civilizations, the pursuit of truth and the strength of unity could overcome the darkest of conspiracies. The galaxy, once divided and wary, now stood united under the banner of humanity. The rise of Earth's battleship, the Conqueror, had not only shifted the balance of power, but had also ignited a transformation in galactic relations. The Galactic Council Chambers. In the heart of the newly established Galactic Council, representatives from every corner of the galaxy gathered. The Council Chamber, a vast hall with translucent walls revealing the cosmos beyond, buzzed with anticipation. At the center, a holographic projection displayed the Conqueror, symbolizing humanity's commitment to peace and cooperation. Humanity's proposal. Human delegates, led by Ambassador Elena Rodriguez, stepped forward. "We stand before you." Ambassador Rodriguez began, not as conquerors, but as partners. "Our strength lies not in domination, but in unity. Together, we can usher in an era of unprecedented prosperity and understanding." Reddit.com. Alien Empire's response. The leaders of the former alien empires, having witnessed humanity's resilience and innovation, nodded in agreement. The Exire leader spoke first. "Your species has shown us that strength and compassion can coexist. We are ready to build a future together." The Kelvoth warlord added, "In battle, you have proven your might. In peace, you offer hope. We accept your hand in friendship." The NASA leader concluded, "Let this council be the foundation of a new era, where knowledge and wisdom are shared freely among all." Establishing the United Galactic Federation. With unanimous consent, the United Galactic Federation, UGF, was formed. The Conqueror, now serving as the Federation's flagship, symbolized the unity of diverse species working towards common goals. Initiatives launched. Interstellar Trade Network, a vast network facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures, ensuring that resources and knowledge reached every corner of the galaxy. Unified Defense Force, a collective military unit dedicated to protecting the Federation from external threats, ensuring that no single species bore the burden alone. Cultural exchange programs, initiatives designed to celebrate and preserve the rich tapestry of galactic cultures, fostering mutual respect and understanding. A glimpse into the future. Years passed, and the galaxy flourished under the UGF. Planets once isolated now thrived through collaboration. The scars of past conflicts healed, replaced by bonds of friendship and shared purpose. Children of various species played together, learning from each other's histories and traditions. Scientists from different worlds collaborated on projects that benefited all, from curing diseases to harnessing clean energy sources. The legacy of the Conqueror. The Conqueror remained a symbol of humanity's journey, a journey from isolation to integration, from conflict to cooperation. Its legacy was not just in the battles fought, but in the peace achieved and the unity forged. Epilogue. As Ambassador Rodriguez gazed out from the Council's observation deck, she reflected on the path that led them here. "We were once divided," she mused, "but now we are one." And with that unity, the galaxy looked towards a future filled with hope, exploration, and endless possibilities.